All right, Shalom. This is Arishai coming to you again with this truth, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule well. And salutations to the Akim that's across the four corners of the earth, pushing his word and sincerity and truth with all long suffering and doctrine. All right, so I wanted to actually just make a quick little video expounding on the difference between the word mark in Eze94 and the word mark in Revelation 13 and 16, because there has been some confusion. Once upon a time, with IUIC, I ran into a guy basically who was expounding on that they're the same mark and that the RFID chip is not the mark of the beast mentioned in Revelation 13 and 16. So I'm going to expound on the root word definition of the two. So let me first read Ezekiel 9 and 4 through 6, and then I'm going to go into the word. It says, "And the Lord, Yahweh, said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem." All right, because Israel or Jerusalem is a people before it's a place, so wherever they may be. But this one was, like I said, is in the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So right now that's symbolic for us men that's sighing and crying for all the abominations done in the midst thereof. You know, wherever we sojourn, whatever Israel is into, you know, it's abominations going on right now, such as homosexuality, pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, idolatry, adultery, so on and so forth. And then they were given commandment to slay in the 6th verse, but I'm going to start back at 5. It says, "And to the others he said, In my hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity." Keep in mind, Jeremiah 16 and 16, those fishermen is going to be turned to hunters. All right. Right now we've been fishers of men, and we got that double-edged sword in our hand, that Bible, that could cut both you and me, depending on if I'm going off and being a hypocrite or not. They're going to be turned to hunters in due season, all right? And they're going to get spiritual powers, and we're going to be fucking shit up to everybody who refused to hearken and was giving us a hard time for us trying to seal and raise up the elect through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. So it says, verse 6, "Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children." So the Lord didn't care. He didn't spare. It says, "and women," because right now they tell you not to hit women, and it's not wise. I'm gonna back that statement. Right now, it's not wise to do so. You find yourself in jail. You can't do the Lord's work, but it's not a sin as far as you do that, you're gonna get put to death type shit. Like, nah, it's keeping them in order. But like I said, it's not wise, so I don't condone it. I'm just throwing it out there. That's something you really gotta just suppress your spirit. It says, "But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary." Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. Now keep in mind, judgment first starts with the house of Israel, and that's in 1 Peter 4 and 17, all right, through 18. That judgment begins first at the house of Israel. So that's why he said, "Begin at my sanctuary." So that's why a lot of Israelites is getting fucked up, judged and whatnot. But the heathens, they still living lavish, they flourishing until the Lord decides to bring down that gavel and bring that judgment. So let's go into this word mark. Because in the book of Revelation 13 and 16, it says, let me actually grab that first, and then I'm going to that word. It says, "And he causeth all," this Revelation 13 and 16, by the way, "and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor," so once again, no distinction, "free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead." So back in Ezekiel 9 and 4, they got a mark in their forehead, but it was a different mark. So let's look up that word, or you click on it, because this is from the Hebrew. That's why I say H right next to it, H8, 8420, and it says right here in the definition outline of biblical usage, it says a sign of exemption from judgment. So that's what that mark is talking about. So he said, "Come not near any man upon whom have that mark of exemption," meaning don't come to him. He basically on the same will and journey as you, out there to slay utterly old, maids, women, little children, men that's doing abominations in the midst thereof, eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, not keeping the high holy days such as the Passover, which was a sin unto death, as well as the Purim and whatnot, you know, doing all manner of wickedness. So don't come into the men who on the same motive as you. You know, that's all it's basically saying. But this is a mark, a physical implant, all right, a mark that you could receive. And right now it's voluntary, and that's why it's a G here, because it's in the Greek. Hebrew, all right, there was a H, it was H8420. This one is G, all right, G 5480, and it's charagma in the Greek, because the Old Testament came from the Hebrew, the New Testament came from the Greek, and in the midst of them, you got a little Latin in there. All right, so this is a completely different definition, even though they both have the same word, mark. All right, and just to try to stop the confusion, and we just get to the point, breaking down that stronghold. This is mainly the main one that is talking about, this first one. It says a stamp or an imprinted mark. All right, imprinted, basically an incision in which people are taken. And I got a video set up for you guys to check out. It's only about 1 minute and 50 seconds long, but that's basically the difference between the two. One is a mark of exemption from Eze94. For the brothers that's on the same motive, they assign the crime for the abominations done in the midst thereof. They acknowledge that, damn, these are the sins that Israel is committing, and we going out week in and week out to speak out against it. All right, so Lord willing, if we are the elect, we're gonna get that exemption. We're gonna be saved. We're gonna be a covert from the wind, as the scriptures say. We're gonna be that wind is the destroying wind, the thermonuclear destruction, by the way. We're gonna be saved from that. So we got a mark of exemption, but the people that take this imprinted mark, this incision, RFID chip, they're going to get destroyed. So let's just get to the point of the video. You see they taking it now. And they buy and sell with it. But I'm going to let the video speak.
So the biggest benefit, I think, is convenience. It basically simplifies your life, and that's why I think people find it interesting, because you don't have to have keys, you don't have to use tags or anything else for using printers. You can do airline fares with it. You can also go to your local gym, etc. Carrying money around, a wallet, and plastic cards, it's obvious. I mean, it's the next step. The next natural step for electronics is to move into the body. Conceptually, you could.
It said right there that it turns them into programmable robots. And that's because your brain sends off frequencies. They're very low frequencies, but in order to tell your nerves what to do, it sends off frequencies. That's how you can move your body in certain ways. And the same thing with the RFID chip. That's why it's called RFID, radio frequency identification. So, and it speaks about that in the book of Revelation, back in the 13th chapter. That let me go back to it. I'm gonna actually grab the next verse. Verse 17, I'm zoom in on it. It says, "And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Now picture this: when they went and took silver and gold from being a standard as far as legal tender, then they basically came with the Federal Reserve, and they give you a big IOU note, a Federal Reserve note, and that's how you basically buy or sell. But at one point in time, it used to be backed by gold and silver, where you could go and exchange that paper bill for actual gold or silver. Now you can't do that. So the same way that they made that transition is the same way they're going to make that transition from it being paper bill to it being a digital currency. Same like Bitcoin. But instead of it being Bitcoin, they're going to use the RFID chip, and they're going to try to implant you with it. So this is a future prophecy, and right now it's voluntary, but it's going to soon be mandatory. That's why no man is going to be able to buy or sell except you got the chip. Excuse me. Salakia. Long story short, it has a barcode inside of it, and that's how we're able to basically put a currency on it. You can put all type of information on it, medical, name, identifier, whatever the case is. And that's why it expounds on it. Here in the 18th verse, it says, "Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. It has about 3, if I'm not mistaken, 1 in the beginning, middle, and end, a 6 as far as the digit for the barcode in which the RFID chip will have. Long story short, this RFID chips all around you. The NFC chip as well is the same thing with a different name. That's how you're able to share files from one phone to another. Like they used to have what's called like a S reader, I believe, where you could transfer a large file by putting the phones back to back like a movie file, like something like a gigabyte, not something small like a music file or something. But the same thing as far as what they got before you walk out of the store, they gotta scan something so it don't sound like you're stealing, because those are RFID tags. But they want to go even a step further and make you into programmable robots like you just seen in the video. So they got people voluntarily taking the chip. Primarily, most of them are heathens already, willingly taking it because it makes life more convenient, and that's the gimmick. They tell you, oh, you don't have to carry a wallet, you don't have to worry about leaving it at home and things of that nature to make it sound good and dress it up fancy. But the scriptures tell you in Revelation the 14th chapter, because this is the 13th, that whoever take it is going to be destroyed, and they're going to drink of that wine. So let me grab it right quick. Revelation 14, and it says down in the 8th verse, let me start at the 9th verse. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, keep in mind, it doesn't matter where you get it, anywhere in your body, all right? If you get it anywhere, it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So you're going to get destroyed by thermonuclear destruction if you go and try to find your life, as the scriptures say. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. So you can't put your trust in this system. Don't go down, like the scripture said in Isaiah 31 and 1, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. This is Egypt, pursuing the Exodus 20 and 2. Egypt means bondage. This is bondage where we came into slavery, all right, by way of cargo slave ship that's mentioned in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. All right, we all should know about that. If you don't, just do a little research. There's a lot of videos out there that expounds on, Deuteronomy 28, 68. You can just put that in GMS and put it in YouTube, and you'll find hella videos. Long story short, we in bondage, and you shouldn't go to Egypt for help as far as trusting in their chariots, trusting in Esau 911 to come and save you. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to be the ones that's really oppressing you, like we already see that going on now with like these police brutality videos and things of that nature. So bringing it way back home to the original point of why I made this video, basically to expound on the difference between Mark in Ezekiel 9 and 4 and Mark in Revelation 13 and 16. To whomever may be watching this, I'm going to say shalom. Keep pushing. Whomever may be, across the four corners of the earth, taking heed to this video. And we almost up out of here. All right. They got people willingly taking the chip. It's just a time before it's going to be mandatory. And brothers, we may have to live as pilgrims of the earth. We got to put our trust wholly in Yahweh Shem Yahweh, because they are planning on stopping food from coming in. And by that way, that's going to get a lot of people to willingly go and take the chip, because that's going to be the only way for them to eat. Come down to this stadium that can house a lot of people and get this food, but the only way you're going to get it is to have the chip type shit. If you ain't got it, you ain't going to eat. And that's going to be the ultimate test of faith. So hope you guys were edified. With that, I'm going to say shalom. And as always, death to America. Hold fast that which is good too, because Esau coming down upon us having great wrath. All right. Shalom.